unanswered questions about Freddy motherfucking Krueger. Number 1.
And
Number 2.
what do you think Philip and Jennifer's dream powers would have been? We have finally got the most people's favorite film in the franchise. While it's not mine by far, it's still upper tier. I do love how this film expands the lore of Freddy and the Dream Realm, the last of the Springwood children, including our original Dream Warrior, my dear Nancy. We get to see these kids come together, support each other, and find their superpowers in the Dream Realm. Nancy can pull things out of her dream.
I brought something out from my dream.
Kristen can pull people into her dreams, get them out when needed, and do some kick-ass ass-kicking. Kincaid has super strength. Will is the wizard master. Taryn is bad with the dual knives. Joey has supersonic screaming.
Supersonic.
But what about Philip and Jennifer? Freddy gets to them before their story ever gets to play out. Let's talk about Philip first. I really liked his character for the short time we got. He seems to be a pretty chill and smart dude, and he has a passion for making puppets. I could imagine him being some kind of puppet master, bringing some of his creations to the Dream Realm to protect him. It's a pretty neat idea, but it's pretty funny at the same time. I mean, could you imagine? I picture it being like the little Ashes from Evil Dead 2. Just a bunch of little puppets swarming Freddy. Freddy be like,
"Get the fuck off me."
Jennifer is a little bit tougher for me to figure out. She was in love with Hollywood, celebrities, she wanted to be an actress. So maybe she could have been like a shapeshifter kind of thing, and turn into some of her heroes and action stars to go kick Freddy's ass. Who knows? That would have been pretty interesting to see too. But I know what power she does have. The power of
Prime time, bitch.
Number 3.
what happened to Kristens' dad. I'll play this clip here. Listen.
When I was a little girl, like 4 or 5, if I had a nightmare, I'd always bring my dad in. He used to think they were his dreams.
Not only do I think this detail is vastly overlooked and actually very important, but I also think it's a huge missed opportunity for the film that never played out. So in this short scene, we discover that Kristen has had this ability since she was 4 or 5 years old, pulling her dad into her dreams.
Like 4 or 5, I'd always bring my dad in.
Kristen should be about 16 years old in this film. So that being said, looking at the timeline, she had her ability about 6 years before the original Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I mean, that's a pretty big eye-opener, at least to me. She paints her father in a pretty positive light.
Dreams would always get better.
And as normal, he was probably her childhood hero growing up, which I think is a major missed opportunity in the film. Think about it. When the chips were down, out of desperation, Kristen pulls her father into her dreams for the first time in over 10 years. He helps his daughter, the other kids, the Dream Warriors, Nancy, Neil. They all team together and defeat Freddy. Because Kristens' dad is the only one who really knows the true backstory about Kristens' power. He was there. He witnessed it firsthand. Even though he didn't realize it, he would have more knowledge of it than anybody else. I just think what she said is too much of a lore grabber line to not be explored upon. But sadly, we never got it. But he could have been a huge help, a big bag of ammunition for their arsenal. Another angle I wish they would have went in this movie was to actually bring back the parents. It's always the children fighting, right? But in this movie, Nancy's dad gets involved. We could have had Kristens' dad. How cool would it be to not only have the Dream Warriors fight Freddy, but their parents as well? The duos. 2 generations worth. An all-out dream war. Because their parents know a hell of a lot more than they do about Freddy. They was there when he was murdered. Brought to justice. I'd pay to see that movie. But it is what it is. We never got it. But it all starts from my original question. Whatever happened to Kristens' dad?
Number 4.
What's the deal with Freddys' mom? And
Number 5.
and why doesn't Freddy manipulate the real world more often?
You were his mother.
Yeah, we know. We all know the tragic backstory of Freddy and his mother Amanda Krueger, aka Sister Mary Helena, or Helen in this movie. Ghost nun by day, vengeance guide by night. She pops in the film, drops some Catholic faith into Neil, and somehow becomes Freddy's biggest weakness in this film. She even returns in The Dream Child, which I won't get into right now because that movie belongs in the dumpster behind Taco Bell at 3 a.m. when the garbage man is late for pickup because he's dropping the deuce at the truck stop toilet. Nightmare 5, stupid motherfucker. But seriously, I'm not even that interested in her story specifically. What does fascinate me is how this film just casually adds ghosts to the nightmare lore like it's no big deal. So, ghosts are just a thing now? They can show up whenever, talk to whoever they want, and even take down the ultimate dream demon, okay, cool. But if that's the case, where the hell are the rest of them? Why aren't more ghosts showing up in this film? Why isn't Glenn showing up like, yo Nancy, baby, what's up? Why aren't Tina and Rod or any of the Dream Warriors in the film that got showing back up in spirit to help the final survivors? Now I get it. Freddy collects souls. We've seen his slimy ribcage scene where we see his trapped victims. Maybe that's why some of them can't pop in for a visit. Okay, I get that. So what about everyone else that wasn't a part of Freddy's little dream buffet? What about the survivors of the first two films? After Freddy gets defeated, the souls are released, right? Why not bring Marge back in? Nancy's mother to help her. Did everyone just punch in their at the time card and dip out? I'm just saying, if these ghosts are canon now, the rules get convoluted really fast. No one can be like, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but Mr. KFC is back again. You might want to do something about that. But even if we discredit all of the previous victims, right? Adding this to the lore still doesn't make sense to me. Why doesn't Freddy himself do the same thing as his mother? I mean, hell, in this film alone, he reanimates his skeleton in the real world, kills Donald, brings a junkyard back to life, but he can't come back as a ghost and talk some shit. I like the Dream Warriors film, but come on now. If you're gonna go down this road, do it. Don't make Amanda the exception. I mean, you don't even bring her up in the next film. It's 2 films later. There's too many previous victims with revenge fuel to not be a part of this. And again, the most important part, Freddy himself. I mean, only 3 films in, Freddy can invade your dreams, come into the real world, possess people, control things supernaturally from the real world, like the pool party scene in 2, his own skeleton in this one, the junkyard cars. I could name 10 other examples. But yet, he can't come back as a ghost, and this ghost angle is never brought up again. If you're gonna add ghosts to the lore and have them walking around free willy, having a jolly good old time, talking to whoever the fuck they want to, why can't Freddy do the same? But even moving past all the ghost stuff, if Freddy has the ability to manipulate the real world already, why doesn't he do it more often? Why not do this all the time? Your job would be so much easier. I'll stop before I get pissed off. What do you think? Let me know.
Number 6.
Rapid fire round. Shout out to my man Max. This man legit cared about these kids. He's what Weston Hills actually needs, not Dr. Sims. Also, I love this puppet scene with Philip and the callback from part 2 where Freddy has finger knives instead of the actual glove. Nice nod to part 2. Bro, you have Nancy looking stunning beside a fireplace after dinner. How bad can life be? I wouldn't be looking at the window self-loathing. I'll tell you that much. Why does Donald have a key to the junkyard? He just casually kept it? I guess that's another cool angle that you can go, that maybe the owner was involved, knew about the crimes, and let Donald just do his thing. That would be a cool small little backstory to explore. The real crime of this film is how nothing ever happens to this horn dog and creep. The constant inconsistency of Freddy's voice in this film has always bothered me. Sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's just normal.
Your wish is my command.
Always room for more. Little friends, you and I. Let's get high.
This film is pretty solid, but Freddy's voice in this is a mess. Pick and choose one.
Number 7.
When did the patients at Weston Hills start dreaming about Freddy? And
Number 8.
did Nancy get blamed for the murders? Shouting out Philip one last time, he makes yet another pretty big revelation to me. I'll play the clip right here.
The fact that we all dreamt about this guy before we ever met doesn't seem to impress anybody.
This kind of fuels my theory I did in part 2, that the pool party scene cursed every teen in Springwood. That's how Freddy overcame his defeat, and how he's so strong in the opening of part 3. When he says, "You are all my children now," he infected every one of those teenagers, and no matter how many times he gets defeated, he will always have a dream to invade to get stronger. I won't backtrack on that, but I wonder what each person in the group's backstory was at Weston Hills. Since they all had experience with Freddy before they met, I wish we could have got a more in-depth backstory from each of the Dream Warriors. Now, self-harm is a big theme in this movie. We see Freddy do it to Kristen in the opening of the movie. We hear it as soon as we see Weston Hills for the first time. Max is listening to it on the radio.
And in local news, 2 more teenage deaths have occurred, both suicides.
He talked to Neil about it.
I got a new theory about all these suicides, right?
When we meet Philip for the first time.
Nice work.
They really ought to be carved out of wood. They won't let me have a knife. I might,
We even get more of this theme the first time we see the kids in the group. such as Will's backstory.
I've had a little accident. Ended up in this chair.
Accident my ass.
Hey, so he took a jump.
Tearing with her.
At least he wasn't sticking needles in his arm with a bunch of lowlives.
I don't do that shit.
What are those, beauty marks?
Look familiar.
Let's get high.
Jennifer, even though we don't get much of her backstory, she likes to self-harm with the cigarettes.
Good morning, Jennifer. How are the burns?
Regular menthol, ultralight.
I could do a lot more, but you get the point. Basically, that entire Western Hills wing is just one big self-harm watch. Now let's get into the other question. Did Nancy get blamed for it all? I would hope not, but let's be realistic here. We have to look at the last time they go to group. 4 of them walks in, only 1 of them walks out. Just saying. And that's Kincaid. Nancy, Will, and Taryn didn't make it. Now that we know what the specific wing is used for, that's the whole point. Even when people start to drop like flies, they still believe that.
Philip's death was a sleepwalking accident.
Philip
Ice
himself. Now that's a cowardly thing.
We know nothing ever came of Kincaid because we see him in the next film, finally living a normal life until said events happen. So there's only one person left to point the finger at, Nancy. I mean, the staff didn't like her anyway.
No one gets to see Kristen, especially you. And even if I didn't have orders from Sims, I wouldn't let you near her, no way.
So was she blamed for the unaliveness pact? Somebody has to be held accountable. They already didn't believe the kids about Freddy's story.
How much longer are you going to go on blaming your dreams for your own weakness?
So, as much as I love Nancy, I do believe she was the fall woman, and that sucks. What do you think? Do you have an alternate answer? Let me know.
Number 9.
Did Kristen fulfill her promise to Nancy? And
Number 10.
is this movie actually connected to Wes Craven's New Nightmare? I'm going against the odds, putting this theory out there, but I do believe it. This is a big one, but hear me out. As sad as it is to see my Nancy fall victim to Freddy, it's really hard for me to watch. Every time I do, I go. And as much as I like to believe that the ending, with Neil and the house lighting up beside her dream doll, is supposed to be a sign that Nancy is watching over him and the Dream Warriors to protect them, I actually don't believe it. Simply because Nancy's never seen again, and the Dream Warriors die immediately in the next movie. Sorry, my blood pressure got a little bit high there. I love the thought, I really do, but I just don't think it has any kind of actual ammunition behind it. But believe it or not, this theory actually does. Let's go back to Kristen's promise to Nancy.
I'm gonna dream you into a beautiful dream, forever and ever.
So Kristen promises Nancy to dream her into a beautiful dream forever and ever. That dream is Nancy living as Heather Langenkamp, the successful actress, with all of her friends still alive, such as Rod, her dad, and even Kristen herself, which at the time was long gone in the real world. I'll get to that in a minute. Now you might think this theory is too far-fetched or it's too easy, and it can't be explained, because New Nightmare just goes meta in real life. But this also isn't true. The characters in New Nightmare are still fictional characters, not real ones. For instance, Nancy, aka Heather, doesn't have a child named Dylan, doesn't have a husband named Chase, never did, probably never will. These characters in New Nightmare still take place in a completely fictional world, a dream. Now the reason this is possible pertaining Freddy, we need to quickly touch on a theory that I had in the original Nightmare on Elm Street movie. In the first movie, in the end, I had a theory that when Nancy defeated Freddy, he didn't actually just disappear into the void. He went straight into Marge's dream. That's why she got in the end. Because that's the last thing that she ever saw. Because Freddy invaded her dream directly after falling. I believe this is the same here. After Kristen sends Nancy into her beautiful dream now, where she builds her new life, as a beautiful wife, a mother, a successful actress, things couldn't be better. And all the trauma that she went through in the events of Nightmare 1 and Nightmare 3, instead of them being memories, that was actually played out in the movies in New Nightmare. Now if we're looking at fitting this into the timeline, I believe the timeline plays out normally. While Nancy is forever trapped in this beautiful dream that Kristen made her, in the next film, Nightmare 4, Kristen gets offed and is never able to pull Nancy from that dream. So she is stuck there forever. Unbeknownst to her, this is Nancy's new life now, stuck in this dream. Her purgatory. This is Nancy's eternity. Nightmare 5 plays out the way it does, and then comes Freddy's Dad, where we learn that all the Springwood kids have been killed off, except for one, John Doe. So Freddy is extremely limited when he's defeated. Think about it. All the Springwood kids are gone, right? So if he's defeated, none of the kids are left for Freddy to invade their dreams so he can keep returning. They're all dead. So that leaves only one soul and dream left to invade, Nancy's. Because Nancy is stuck in this permanent dream that Kristen pulled her into. Remember, this is Nancy's permanent purgatory, a distorted echo chamber where Nancy is stuck, reliving a version of herself as Heather, trapped in a fictionalized Hollywood version of her own life.
I won't let you die. I won't let you.
Because in New Nightmare, she is still Nancy. That's why in New Nightmare, Freddy doesn't call her Heather. He calls her Nancy. Because in that realm, that lingering dream, Nancy's purgatory, that's who she is. She's not Heather. She's Nancy. And that's what Freddy knows her as. The real her. The final soul.
Miss me?
It explains why Freddy also takes on this demonic new form as well. He's not just Freddy anymore. He's what remains after consuming every last bit of fear, dream energy, soul juice, a rebooted nightmare, fueled by the only thing he has left after being defeated, and that's Nancy's permanent dream. So if you think about it, this actually makes perfect sense. It's not so far-fetched to tie Nightmare 3 to New Nightmare.
The more she read, the more she realized what she had in her hands was nothing more or less than her life itself.
So chat, what do you think? I mean, the shoe fits. The dots connect. The stars align. So I'll ask one more time. Did Kristen actually fulfill her promise to Nancy and took Nancy to that perfect dream of hers? And after all them years, did Freddy finally find her? And that one last dream that was left for Freddy to invade. His last hope. Thus, finally connecting New Nightmare to the rest of the franchise. Yeah, I honestly think so. But let me know what you think down below. As always, if you have any theories, feel free to post them in the Discord. Discord is completely free. It's just a hangout spot. If you have a theory that I like and holds some weight, I will credit you in the video. Also, if you want, join the YouTube membership where you get exclusive videos, movie commentaries. I do monthly giveaways to my members, private live streams, priority replies on comments. The list goes on and on. There's a lot of benefits. With that being said, thank you guys so much for taking part of your day to kick with me. You know I appreciate it. I love you all. Till next time, where I'll see you in part 4, The Dream Master. Grab your fucking crucifix, buddy, because that guy is coming. I'll see you in the next one. I love you all. I appreciate you. Adios.